Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel. I already got Eureka here cleared off, but as you can probably tell, it's no longer fall. It's now winter here in Alaska. It's about 10 to 15 degrees Americans around here, so I don't know whatever that computes to in Celsius. You guys can do the math on that. I'm not going to do it. And anyhow, I got a job for old Eureka here, so what we're going to go ahead and do is, instead of a brutal cold start on the old L head, since I actually really like this Jeep, I'm going to stick the old space heater under the nose of this thing, pump a little heat up into the engine there, and then we'll cold start old Eureka here. Well, we've had the old heater on here for about 2 trips to the wood stove. Just getting the engine pretty well thawed out here. Yeah, it's getting fairly warm. The radiator's getting nice and hot because the heater's right there. The great thing about these old flat fenders is there's like no plastic. Well, there's some plastic, but there's not enough plastic that I'm worried about the old space heater melting anything, so that's good. You don't need to worry about your space heater smoking. It's pretty normal. We'll throw the old battery in here. Had this guy on the charger for a little while this morning, so it should be fine. I don't know if I've said it in any videos before that the Jeep's been in here, but if you're going to buy a one-wire alternator bracket, don't buy the cheap set off of Amazon, because those brackets suck. I bought the like $70 one-wire alternator brackets off Amazon, and it was awful. And you can see if I run a battery bigger than this, the alternator runs into the side of the battery. That's why there's this chunk of mud flap in there. Junk. Well, let's see if she'll fire off. Should have quite a bit of heat in there. Oh, the starter. Oh yeah. Man, this thing's mint. One of these days I'll actually get the choke set up on this thing. Well, she's a little feisty in the snow, but she's doing it. We'll see if we can't make it to the top of the hill here. This thing's such a unit. Well, I've got to say, my hat's off to old Eureka here for taking that abuse. That was pretty impressive. I honestly really wasn't expecting it to saw through the snow quite like that, sitting on these old bias plies. You know, this thing's pretty much a bone stock CJ-2A, nothing special about it. No lockers or nothing, so for it to handle that, that was pretty cool. I just had to see if she'd take the abuse like that. Just kind of curious, you know, but I did kind of figure I'd end up having to plow that whole area out before I'd be able to drive out of there. So good on the old girl, but we didn't get this thing out for nothing. We got her out to move this. And this right here is kind of a treat. So my buddy just picked this thing up from one of the local auction yards. It was sitting there, and they had no information about it other than it's a Lincoln SA200. But we had a look at the old thing on the auction website, and it's an old Lincoln SA200 red face welder. It's got the Continental red seal flathead engine in it. And well, the auction website didn't say that it didn't run, but they didn't say that it did run. So it was kind of a gamble, but he picked this thing up for cheap. We drug it home. We were goofing around yesterday and got it fired up. And this thing needed fresh gas, a good battery, and welding leads. It didn't come with these leads, but all of that, and this is a good running, working, welding welder. Like, that's all it took. So this thing is an absolute score. And now that we know it all works, he's got a couple of sassy old service trucks. He's going to stick this on one of them. And so that's where this thing's going to end up. But it can't sit in the shop all winter, so that's what we drug old Eureka out here for. So this thing's probably the best trailer toter for the yard that I've ever had, just because this Jeep is so short. It can wheel a trailer into any little spot you want it to, so that's exactly what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to wheel the welder up here, get her hooked up to Eureka here, get a spot plowed out up top, and we'll tow the welder up and stick it up top. Alrighty, we got old Eureka tucked back in the shop here. I think I'm going to do a little bit of work to it. I was going to film some more shots, but I had a close encounter of the moose kind. Not one, not two, but 4 moose. A cow, 2 calves, and 1 bull moose were all hanging out up top there. So I wasn't going to hang around and get to know them too well. So anyways, we got old Eureka put back in the shop. You guys, as always, you can look forward to seeing more of this thing on the channel. I absolutely love this Jeep, and I'm hoping to do a little more upkeep on it and keep her in pretty good shape. I mean, it runs super good. Obviously, cosmetically, I want it to stay exactly the same, but that's all the same old spiel. I got the pickup warming up. I'm going to head out. Thank you guys for following along and enjoying the adventure.